Hello everybody. In the last class, we were discussing about the three-phase systems and three-phase circuits, focusing mainly on the two major categories of the three-phase circuits, that is the star circuit and the delta circuits. And we looked at how the voltages and the currents, that is the line side parameters and the phase side parameters, are interrelated in the case of both the star and the delta circuits. We also discussed about the power which is absorbed in three-phase star connected and delta connected loads. So, in this session today, we shall continue our discussion on the three-phase circuits with few examples to consolidate our ideas. Right in the beginning of the three-phase circuits, we started with the star type of a connection and then eliminated the neutral. That is, we started with a 6-wire system and then eliminated 2 wires, made 3 of the return paths common, and it became a 4-wire system. And then we eliminated the common neutral wire, which is the 4th wire, and made it into a 3-wire system, with the assumption that the loads were balanced, and because the loads were balanced, the instantaneous current flowing through the neutral wire, IA plus IB plus IC, is always 0. So, we saw from the 3-phase sinusoidal diagram that the instantaneous value is always 0. But if the load is not balanced, then what happens? So, we shall have a look at such a system. So, let me draw the 3-phase load like that. So, we have a 3-phase load with the neutral. So, let us call this as A, B, C as usual, and we take the B phase and give it here, and we take the C phase give it to the 3 terminals. There is also on the source side a neutral terminal, something like the center point. We will call this one as N. We are not connecting the uppercase n and the lowercase n, assuming that the load is balanced. So, in actuality, 4-wire system, we are connecting the source neutral and the load side neutral, such that in the return path here, IA plus IB plus IC is going to flow in the return path. Now, what is IA, IB, IC? This is IA, that is the A phase, B phase, C phase. So, you have IB and you have IC. Now, if suppose they were all equal, all the 3 phases had equal loads, that is the load resistances of every phase is same and the value of R, then IA, IB, IC, that is the instantaneous value. I am not talking of the effective values, the instantaneous value is as shown here, as given here, because here you are giving a voltage which is, let us say, the reference, that is, let us say, angle 0, that is E line angle 0, E line angle minus 120 degrees, E line angle minus 240 degrees. So, this is how you are giving. Now, the currents, if you look at the currents, the line currents and the line voltage. If you see this line current and the line voltage, there is going to be a phase shift. The voltage, we saw that the voltage across the phase EAN, okay, will be in phase with the line current in the case of the star circuit, which is IA, or IA into R will be EAN, this is EAN. However, EAB is going to lead EAN by 30 degrees. EAB leads EAN by 30 degrees. This we saw. So, now let us draw the waveform of IA, IB, IC. An easy way to draw three-phase waveform is as follows. Let us say you just make a set of up and down triangle waveform like this, and then you connect the tops by the curves like this, and then the bottom portion of the triangles also are connected in this manner neatly and smoothly, and that will result in a nice neat so let us say IA, this is 0 of the IA, and this is 180 degrees of IA, this is the 120 degrees point, this is the 60 degree point, and somewhere here is the 30 degree point. And this would be also 30. So, let us say IA lags the line voltage by 30 degrees. This is time. These are the three-phase currents, I's. These are the currents. Now, let me keep IA in blue. This is IA, and we can take the green color for IB, which is lagging IA by 120 degrees. You see that IB is lagging IA by 120 degrees. This is 120 degrees. Now, this would be 30 degrees. See that IA is lagging the reference. In this case, the reference would be the line voltage, let us say. It is lagging by 30 degrees with respect to the line. And let us take the red waveform to 40 degrees. this would be IC. See, a very easy way of constructing the three phase waveforms, and now you can complete this portion of the curves, and likewise for IB. So, if at any section, if we take any section, if the load is balanced, by balanced we mean that all the loads are of equal magnitudes, then at any section at any given instant, IA plus IB plus IC is equal to 0. So, IC is positive max, IA is negative half, IB is also negative half at this point, and therefore, you have 1 minus 0.5 minus 0.5 which is equal to 0, and so on throughout the range. So, now what happens when the loads are not balanced, which means some value of the load or the resistance is a different value. So, let us say that the IA value, that is the R connected to the A phase, is instead of R, it is R1, and we will go, and R1 is not equal to R. So, what happens is that, let us say R1 is lesser than R, which means more current or more IA flows through the R1 resistance. So, this would mean that we have an IA which is having a different magnitude compared to the other two. So, now the IA is not the blue, IA is now the violet or the purple colored waveform. This is our new IA. Now, this IA is having a different amplitude compared with IB and IC. So, this makes this relationship invalid, meaning IA plus IB plus IC has a finite value which is not equal to 0. Now, suppose in the circuit we are not connecting this, we are not connecting the neutrals of the source and the load, then there is no path for IA plus IB plus IC to flow in this return path, that is the neutral line. So, therefore, what happens at this point, the summing point junction, Kirchhoff's current law states that the sigma IA plus IB plus IC should be equal to 0, which means the excess current should get divided into the other two phases. So, it is not purely IC which was in the case of the balanced load that would be flowing here, and IB. So, it will be, there will be a part of IA which will get mixed into IC, and a part of IA gets mixed into IB, and that changed magnitudes of IB and IC is going to get multiplied by R and get reflected as the voltage drops. So, the voltage drops in this phase will now change. If it had been as in the case of the balanced condition, let us say IC balanced. So, during the during the balanced condition, IC balanced plus IA balanced plus IB balanced plus IC balanced is always equal to 0, and therefore, you have E C n would be equal to I C balanced, that is effective values. So, it would be I C balanced effective value into R, and E B n is equal to I B balanced into R. And now, when this is removed, I C current is not same as what was under balance condition. So, there will be a part of I A which is also going to flow into I B and I C, and they get modified, and it is no longer balanced, it is just an I C which is now containing within it even a portion of I A. Now, this means that I C into R is different from what was the voltage across it under balance condition, and so also I B into R. This means that the voltage across the C phase and the B phase will get modified. So, if you have harmonics in A due to some load impedance change there, then that harmonics will also get reflected on the other two phases. So, there will be distortion in the other two phases. So, which means under unbalanced load condition, the phase voltages will get distorted. So, the distortion may be in magnitude or frequency or both. To have an harmonic distortion also in it is possible, depending upon the type of the mismatch in the load. So, this is a condition which can occur if the neutrals are not connected. So, therefore, when you have a situation, when we have a situation that the load may be unbalanced, then one has to connect this. One has to connect the neutral of the star connected load to the neutral of the source, so that there is a path for the unbalanced currents to flow through the neutral wire. So, then each phase becomes independent. You have the I A currents, then you have the I B currents and the I C currents, and the currents through the A, the B and the other two phases or the phases will not get unbalanced as in the case of a 3-wire system. In the case of a delta connected load, such a situation does not arise, because in the case of the delta connected load, the phase circuits are directly across the line, and that is the source, and therefore, there won't be any distortions in the line voltage, even if the loads are unbalanced, and there is no concept of a neutral point in the case of a delta connected load. Now, let us see if we have what happens if we have multiple loads. A common situation would be that we have a three-phase source A, B, C. Now, this three-phase source will supply power to a three-phase load, and let us say it supplies power to an inductive load, like in the case of a motor. In general, the three-phase load is in an industry, it is going to supply to, let us say, a motor type of a load which is inductive in nature, meaning lagging power factor. So, let us have the load which is like this. equivalent load which is like that, let us say. So, this is our load. Now, we have the A phase terminal, the B phase terminal and the C phase terminal. So, let us bring this out like that. So, we have the B phase terminal, we have the A phase terminal and then we have the C phase terminal, isn't it? So, this is a load, this is an RL load. Okay, let us say they are all balanced. You have R, XL, have XL, R, XL. So, we make a connection the source between the source and the load. Now, if this is having a large reactive component, then the power factor is going to be very bad, very poor, isn't it? The power factor angle is given by tan inverse of XL by R for every phase, and therefore, you could if the L value, that is the inductive reactance, is going to be very large, then the angle can be large and therefore, the reactive power that is being drawn from the source can be quite high. So, in order to reduce the reactive currents that are being drawn from the source side, so that the ratings of the source or the generator can be more optimally used. Normally, in the industry, they try to improve the power factor from the line side by connecting a capacitive kind of a buffer in between the load here to act as a reactive generator. So, let us have the capacitors connected in a fashion as shown here. So, let us connect 3 capacitors in the delta as shown here. So, let us call this one as A, B, C of the capacitors, and let us link it up. A connected to the A phase, B is connected to the B phase, C is connected to the C phase. These are C, C or XC, XC, XC capacitive loads. So, now let us analyze this particular configuration. It's a pretty common configuration that you will come across, and study the vector diagram how it looks like. For us, let us now have the reference. The reference is, this is E A B, this is E B C, and we have E C A. So, these are the line voltages, line voltages. Now, let me also have the line currents I A, I B, I C. Now, at this point, let the currents get split between the reactive, capacitive reactive load and the RL load. So, let us distinguish them by the following symbols. So, we have, let us say, IAL, IBL, ICL. The L subscript has been used to indicate that that is going to an inductive reactance type of a load, and here you have IAC, IBC and ICC. The C subscript have been included there to indicate that it is the currents that are going into the capacitive reactive load, just for distinguishing. Now, the capacitive delta circuit here, as you see, the capacitive delta circuit here is seeing the same line voltages EAB, EBC and ECA, same line voltages. The star circuit is also seeing the same line voltages EAB, EBC, ECA. Okay. They both are seeing the same line voltages. So, let us have the line voltages as our reference, and then from there let us try to build up our phasor diagram. Now, here at this point, let us also include in the star circuit a point called the neutral point, so that we can say that this is EAN and we have here EBN, ECN. Okay. So, this is the schematic of a very general three-phase circuit system, where the actual load that we are seeing here is inductive in nature, which is what is generally industrial loads are generally inductive in nature, because most of them are going to drive the motors, which are basically lagging power factor loads. And then as the powers, if the powers that are to be delivered to the load are very high, then the reactive component that can be delivered that can be taken from the generator can be really very high, prohibitively high, and therefore to compensate for the reactive component, so that the reactive component can be delivered to this buffer capacitance and then can be again taken in as and when required, the capacitance reactive network as shown here is generally used, so that the power factor as seen from the line side or as seen from the source side is improved. Okay. That is the thing. That will become evident once you look at the phasor diagram. So, this let us copy using the, so we make a copy of that and keep it for future reference, and let me paste it here and bring it as close, so that we make some space here to write the phasor diagram. Now, the line voltages. So, let me draw the line voltages with black color. So, EA, EB, EC can be shown in this fashion. So, EAB, let me put EAB like that, because there is a delta circuit, I am trying to follow that triangle EAB. Now, the capacitance current IAC, IBC, ICC, they are the line currents for the delta network, and EAB, EBC, ECA are the line voltages. Now, if you look at the currents in the phase, the currents in the phase are going to lead the voltages across the phase, because it is a capacitive network. If it had been resistive, with respect to the line or with respect to the phase voltages, the currents which are there within the phases would be lagging the line voltage by 30 degrees, as we saw in the last session. If you want to recall, if I put back the delta network circuit which we discussed in the last session, we have IA, IB, IC, and then the currents within inside in the phase circuit. You see that the phase currents make up, the phase current is in phase with the line voltage, and the line current is now lagging by 30 degrees EAB, if it had been resistive. Now, if it had been capacitive, pure capacitive, then the line current here will now lead corresponding to this point by 90 degrees, or we will say IAB is going to be 90 degrees with respect to this here, and ICA, also capacitive, is again 90 degrees with respect to here, and therefore, the whole thing is, the whole triangle here is going to shift by 90 degrees with respect to the current position, which means IA will lead EAB by 60 degrees. So, coming back here, for the capacitive network, you will see that IA is going to lead, IAC is going to lead EAB. Now, if you look back to this particular diagram here, IAL is the line currents of the load side, the machine side, and IAL is passing through an inductive network, and it is a star network, and that is going to lag the phase, it is going to lag the phase voltages of this phase network. Now, how is EAN, EBN, ECN related to EAB, EBC and ECA? Now, EAN is going to lag EAB by 30 degrees. Again, we saw this in the last class. ECN and EBN. So, we have EAN, EBN, ECN. Now, with respect to, if everything had been resistive loads, IAL would have been along EAN, but now IAL is passing through a reactive network. So, IAL is going to lag EAN by some angle theta, and this would be IAL, and you could probably have, I will put that in a different color. You have IAL, ICL, and you have IBL as shown. So, this is lagging by an angle theta, which is given by tan inverse of XL by R. So, depending upon the load, the theta angle here is going to be different. Now, if we look at the current IA, now IA is a vector sum of IAC and IAL, IAC and IAL, and therefore, if we superpose IAL on IAC, we get IA, So, now IA is the, by applying KCL, we get IA as the vector sum of IAL and IAC, and you see that IA is now almost in phase with the EAB, because we have put a capacitive network. If the capacitive network had not been there, IA would have been IAL itself, which means lagging EAB. IA would have been IAL itself, which is lagging EAB by a significant angle. But because you have put we have put a capacitive network which is resulting in an IAC, a leading current, which combines with IAL, the load current, to provide a line current which is almost in phase with EAB. So, this improves the power factor as far as your line side portion or the generator side or the source side is concerned. So, this is an important industrial application which is normally practiced.